Hi, this is Professor Jacob. This particular video will be your last video and it will cover Microsoft Word 2016. Now, in this video, or in Word, you have a lot of basic concepts. This is a basic or introductory computing class. But for some of these tasks, they include more of the more advanced features that have to do with your college and entry level work careers. All right, so what I'm going to do is launch Word here. I'm down on the taskbar because I already have Word open. All right, for the Word video lecture, there are several items listed here, 11 specifically, that we will cover very briefly today and, hopefully make some sense of why they're included in the Word unit in Group D. So beginning with inserting footnotes and endnotes. All right. So your footnotes and endnotes are considered to be references. Okay, and references meaning that, of course, before you add a footnote or an endnote, of course, you've had to have done some type of research. All right, and normally you're expected to, to cite published works or authors. If you include those in your writings. All right, so in the footnotes group, we have insert footnotes, and most of us have inserted a footnote in a document before. Of course, our keyboard shortcut for inserting a footnote is Alt-Control-F. And so basically, this adds a note at the bottom of the page, and it provides more information about something that appears in the document. Conversely, inserting an endnote adds a note, but it appears at the end of the document instead of at the end of the page. All right, and the keyboard shortcut for that is Alt-Control-D. All right, so you can kind of envision in your mind why that would be added. The next one here, number 2, adding citations to documents. Again, in the references, on the references ribbon by selecting references tab here. In the citations and bibliography group, we have where you insert citations. Of course, if you add a new source, where did you get the information from? What kind of information was it? Was it a book, an article, a report? Was it from an electronic source? Was it film? Was it a recording? So you choose that up here first. And all of these little fields here will change and tell you for, say, for instance, the APA format, what is expected for APA. Now, if I change the APA here to MLA, for example, when I select Insert Citation, now bibliography fields for the MLA format are here, and I just have to choose what type of source it is. Add my information, click OK, and my information is added, okay, to the citations list. All right. So we kind of understand why it appears. It's a little further than introductory, but some of you will probably never see another computer class unless you sort of force yourself to take a computer class. So, of course, this is going to help you to fall in line with your academic expectations when you get to other classes and you have to write term papers or research papers. All right. Now, say for instance, the next one's here, if you need to do a form letter of some sort, or maybe you need to do 100 letters out to the same entity. Maybe you're applying to Harvard or Yale, or you're sending out scholarship letters and you're applying to multiple locations, okay? This is where these two here, number 3 and 4, would come in handy, selecting recipients and adding a greeting line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to page 2. And how to do that, I'm just going to use the page down button, okay? And basically what it's showing me, because I've already added this information, it's showing me, of course, a person's name, their address, their city, state, zip, a greeting line, and the letter. Of course, I haven't signed it. Okay, I put my information here before I sign it. This is just me getting started. So here, you would use the mailings tab. All right. And so what I've done is I've created a recipients list or a recipients table. And this is where Access and Word kind of work together so that you can have somewhere to store your information that goes into an address or a greeting line. And this data source, okay, is labeled with .mdb, okay, which stands for Microsoft Database. So it's just sort of connecting Access's capabilities with Word's capabilities, all right? And so if I wanted to add more records, I could do that, but I would first have to select form letter recipient here, and that's just the name that I gave it, my data source, and I would have to click edit. And then I could add more records, all right, because I've already created it. But you kind of see all of the fields that are added on my recipient list. I may or may not use those. It just depends on what I what I choose to do with this letter. Okay, I could send it by email. I have the email addresses here. I could do labels since I have their name and address, city, state, zip. I could do envelopes, um, basically, and I can do letters, and that's what I'm working on in the background here. So right now, I just have 2 records in that form letter recipients list. And so this is my first one here. Or no, this is my second one. And if I wanted to preview the results, which this is the results of the first one, I could just use the little previous record button and go back, and there's the Sandra Davidson address block. Now, if I click the preview results button again, it will just show the words address block with the double less than and greater than signs. Okay, like so. But previewing the results actually lets me see the data in the document. All right. Now the greeting line is added, of course, here in the Write and Insert Fields group. Greeting lines. And so when I go into greeting lines, I can have it to look like to start off with the word to if I wanted to. I could also say, instead of Mr. Randall, I could say, now that's kind of formal, but I could say Dear Josh or Dear Joshua, okay? So it just depends on what I wanted to do. And then after the name, I could have it to have a comma or a colon or nothing at all. It just depends on how I want to do it. So I'm going to go by the first name because I want my letter to say Dear Frank or Dear Sandra. All right. And so it shows you down here in a preview little window exactly what it's going to show on your document. So you can click OK. All right. And I've already added it before, but I'm just going to show you what that does. Okay, so I'm going to click on Preview Results. I already added the greeting line, so it shows us there what the result is going to be. If I go to the next record, there's Dear Frank. So that sort of makes sense, okay, for you. Now, it may not necessarily make sense if you have one or two letters to send out, but just kind of imagine in your head that you have 100 or even 1,000 letters to send out, and how doing something like a mail merge could make your time more efficient. All right. You could use your time more efficient by doing a mail merge. All right. The next thing, using character spacing. This is very easy. And you may encounter this in 3 and 4, or you will encounter this in 3 and 4. Of course, you would use the font task launcher. Okay, and we're going to use advanced character options. So we're just going to click on the advanced tab. And so spacing, we would say, okay, do we want expanded spacing in between our characters, meaning our letters and numbers, or do we want it condensed, or the width to be smaller? And then you could say, by how much do you want it? How many points? Okay. And so you can see down here in the preview exactly what that's going to do. Do you see as I go down how the letters are getting closer to one another? If I go up, the letters are getting that much further apart from one another. Okay. And once I click OK here, whatever I've selected in my document, which I don't think I've selected anything, but I'm going to select this first line, go back into the Font Task Launcher, and then I'm going to take it up just a little bit, maybe a half of a point. And we see how inserting footnotes and endnotes looks. Now I'm going to click OK. And you see how it's subtle, but you see the difference between the first line and the second line. All right. So, that can be beneficial for you as well, using character spacing. Paste special in Word is kind of like the paste special that we used in Excel, except the options are different, but the concept is still the same. So if I wanted to, copy a format and paste it to another set of characters or another word or paragraph, I could do that. Of course, you could, you could paste special. Let's see here. Let's do row 10 there. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go to the paste options list and select paste special. So here I can paste anything that I want into the document, such as a Microsoft Word document object, rich text format document, as a picture, as HTML format. Okay, so it's really up to you. Now, of course, I didn't make any significant changes. Of course, I could, change some of the formatting, do a strike through, change the font, maybe even make it superscript. I don't know, just to show you what can be done. Paste special. I wanted to use HTML format. Okay. And I didn't copy it, I don't think. So let me copy. And then I want to choose where I want to paste it. Paste special as HTML format. All right. Now that was just one example, but you could use any of these for that. And it kind of gives you a description of each once you click on it. But it all has to do with formatting. You see each one of these pretty much ends in the word formatting or format. All right, so I'm going to undo that to get it back to normal here. Next, navigating long documents. Of course, there are tons of different ways to navigate long documents. Now, For the examples that we've used in this class, 5 pages is probably long, but in a real work world situation, a real long document is going to be anywhere from 25 to a couple hundred pages. Okay. But right click on your scroll arrows. Okay. You can go to the top or bottom of the document. You could page up, page down, scroll up, scroll down. You could also use the little find button in the editing group on the home row and select go to. All right, so you could go to, if you knew something existed in your document, you could go to a particular page just by entering the page number here. Say, for instance, instead of scrolling through 100 pages, you type 100 and click next, and it'll go directly to that page. If you have a particular table or graphic that you wanted to go to, you put in, where it's, located, and click next, and you'll get to see that graphic instead of having to scroll through a number of pages. Okay, so you can definitely use those. And then creating a table of figures. If you can imagine in your ebook, you have, and in a regular text as well, a lot of our textbooks in high school and college have not only the written text, but they also have pictures. So that's really what a table of figures is all about. It's basically giving a numbering or naming convention to every table, figure, picture, or object that you add to a document. And you're able to keep a record of those, just like you would a table of contents, for a regular document. A table of figures has all of your, objects in order. Okay. And so where you would add those, you would go to into the references area and into the captions group to click insert table of figures. And it says add a list of captioned objects and their page numbers for quick reference. So that's basically what a table of figures is all about. Now, recording a macro, we did that in Word, not Word, Access and Excel. And so we're going to do the same in Word as well. I think we did one in PowerPoint too, but I can't remember right now. But all of these pretty much work the same way. So what we're going to do is activate the developer tab. So there's a number of ways that you could do it. You could go into the quick access toolbar drop down list here, or you could click on the backstage view by selecting file and choosing options. Either one will get you there. And then customize ribbon. And then on the main tabs list, you have developer. If you check that box, click OK. It adds the developer tab at the end of your tabs list, which has a way for you to record that macro. Okay, so just as we added the character spacing, changed the font on something earlier. Say, for instance, if I wanted to remove the numbered list here for number 10 and record that as a macro and then apply it to different things, I could. Okay, so I could use the developer tab, of course, select what I want to include in the macro first, and then select record macro. Then I could say, give it any sort of name, any name. But of course you want it to be a meaningful name. All right, and I want to create a keyboard shortcut for it. And in the press new shortcut key, I want to use Control and question mark maybe, or the /. Okay, and I want to save those changes not for the normal template or the document one that would appear when I open up a new Word document. I want to do it just in my file that I've created here. Okay, click Assign. And then I want to go and actually perform that macro. So what I want to do is I want to take the numbered list off. So I'm going to go to the Home tab, and I'm going to remove the numbering, select None, and it removed it. So now I'm going to go back to the Developer tab, and I'm going to stop the macro. I'm going to stop recording the actions. Okay, click Stop. So now if I wanted to remove the numbering off of any of these others, I could just select it and use my keyboard shortcut, which was Control and the / or Control and question mark, and it removes the numbering for me. Okay, so macros basically make you more efficient as someone who is using Microsoft Word, okay, or Excel, or PowerPoint, or Access. It helps you to record steps that you know that you're going to use over and over again, and maybe those steps are longer than just one action that I did, which was remove the numbering. Maybe it's 6 or 7 steps, and you don't feel like you have to go through all of that in order to get what you desire. You can record it as a macro and use that keyboard shortcut. All right. So I'm going to undo everything. And so we have our numbered list back, but that's just kind of giving you an example there. And then finally, inspecting your documents. This is probably the easiest one out of all of them. And it is located on your Backstage view. As soon as you click on File, you immediately see the info page, and you can select Inspect Your Document. Of course, in order to inspect your document has to be saved first. Okay, so I'm going to click on File, which will open up our Backstage view, and then select Inspect Document. So when I inspect the document, before I inspect it, it's going to show me all the areas that it's going to inspect the document in. It's going to look at the macros, any forms, any ActiveX controls, any XML data, which stands for Extensible Markup Language, any invisible content, any hidden text, headers, footers, watermarks, okay, any document properties and personal information. It's going to inspect for all of that. Any comments, version numbers on the document. Is going to search for all of that. So we have to click it, Inspect, for it to actually inspect the document. Give it a moment, and then it's going to show you everything that it just inspected. So you can scroll through and see what was found in your document. And you see here it says macros, forms, or ActiveX controls were found. We can't remove these for you, but after you remove them, you can inspect the file again. And if you wanted to know exactly what macros, forms, or ActiveX controls, you would select the More Info button here. And it will give you sort of a definition of what a macro is, any ActiveX controls or VBA modules. Okay. Basically giving you a solution before trying to inspect your document again. All right. I'm going to click Close. Now, so this should give you some idea as to how to make your life using Microsoft Word more efficient, make it easier for you. And that's the whole purpose to computing, really, is to get your job done as quickly as possible without a whole lot of headaches. Now, of course, you're learning now. But when you get into a real work world situation, of course, all of this training will come back on, and you'll say, that's what Professor Jacob wanted me to remember. You need to be able to think quickly, and apply the things that you've learned to real world situations, such as creating a term paper, creating 100-page document, recording macros if you need to on your job. Okay, pretty much every database has some type of recorded action button included with it. Okay, for example, when you use Campus Solutions and you click on enroll, okay, that takes a whole lot of steps that are built into that one little button. When you go to your ATM and you tap on things on the screen, okay, behind the scenes, there are a lot of things built into that one little button that you're tapping on. So just, if you can kind of conceptualize what's going on, it'll make your life that much easier. Okay. So hopefully this video will help you. And use this class as a launching pad. Do not stop at CIT 105, Introduction to Computing. With your technology know-how, you need to continue to learn, apply more of your skills, even consider getting an industry certification, such as Microsoft Office Specialist certification. Because if you do, what's going to happen is, if you and 10 other candidates have the exact same background experience, but you have a Microsoft certification or an industry certification, that's going to sort of put you above the rest of the pack because you've got something that is unique about you, okay, and that could help the company that you're looking to work for. So use this class as a launching pad. And hopefully, you'll go really, really far with it.